It's a blessing to welcome on the newest commit of now a top 10 recruiting class at Tennessee, Jahmai Mashack. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Well, you've been committed now for a couple of days. Just what's it feel like to kind of have it off your plate for now?
Man, it's definitely exciting. Definitely a once in a lifetime experience. It's kind of surreal for me, just going through the process and trying to pick the school that fits me best. And then when I came upon the Tennessee, talked to my family about it, and we just felt like it was the perfect fit.
You made a tweet a little bit ago about the decision process, saying it's almost like watching someone play 2K as opposed to actually playing it. That is kind of
Right.
how a lot of guys felt. You weren't doing the visits, you weren't on campus, you weren't seeing the practices. This is all virtually. What was this like?
Man, it was actually really difficult for me to, kind of go off of stuff that I've seen over the screen and not really in person. And, you've seen a bunch of guys in my class that were able to get their visits and, were able to experience that. But, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the school and go see the campus and classroom, the court. So, it was difficult. It was difficult, very difficult. But the coaches, not just Tennessee, but all the coaches made and did as best as they could to try to describe what it's like being a player there. And, I really appreciate that. So it was not only hard for me, but hard for the coaching.
You mentioned a key aspect, and that was some guys have kind of been recruited heavily now for the whole high school career, at least the past year or so. You've been a guy that's been ranked high. People knew what you could bring to the table. But offers came in during the coronavirus time and during this whole period where you started landing all these high majors offers from all over the country. That's what made it even especially hard for you. But just sitting back at home, getting these offers, what was that like?
Man, it was kind of, surreal, but I was just, on top of all of that, I was just grateful, I knew what I could do on the court. I knew what I can do for a team. And just seeing the amount of coaches that, saw my value to their program was big time, and I really was making sure that I just was humble and grateful for all the offers that I got. And, I had a feeling that, maybe something was going to happen but with no AAU, it was going to be tough to for me. I'm coming in there with no plan, didn't have a lot of offers, so just trying to figure out what was going to happen. With no AAU, but luckily I was able to get some schools that wanted me.
I said it's kind of like you're underrated, but at the same time you're not. I mean, you have top 50 ranking, you have all this, but at the same time, you're not necessarily known by people. To a lot of people that aren't heavily invested in basketball, they don't necessarily know who you are because of social media
Right.
presence. I mean, why would you say you are still kind of underrated to a degree?
I feel like what I bring isn't the most flashiest. It's not for the cameras. It's not for the Instagram and the social media. And I feel like that's how a lot of players nowadays get their name out there is through video and through interviews and et cetera, and how they play on the court. I'm more of a grit and grind type of guy. I love defense. Get straight to the point on offense. Don't like to over dribble. Just doing things that can get me easy baskets. Doing things that can make great plays. On both ends and I don't feel like that's the most flashiest part of basketball. And I take pride in that though. I take pride in bringing something different to the court and not just doing what everybody else is doing. So I know people will for sure know me. After this season and after college basketball, but for now, I'm gonna stay under the radar for some people and just come as a surprise.
That's the kind of player that I really like because we see everyone always has the flash and the flair. They like the social media, they like the followers, just being the highest score every game, and that's okay. But they're ultimately your goal is to play in the NBA, and there's only so many spots that do that. There's a lot more jobs in the NBA for being guys like you that play defense, kind of 3-and-D kind of players. But who really established that? Not a lot of high schoolers lock into that mindset this early on. Who established that in you? Why did you decide that that's kind of the mentality and the approach you want to take?
Man, it was really my parents. From the start, I wasn't the type of kid, to just get in the lab every day and just work on ball handling. I really started off running track and just a rebounding guy, rebounding hustle guy. Didn't have much skill. As time went on, I got a lot better on my offensive game, and defense kind of came naturally to me. I kind of had that mindset, and my parents really set me up with that. And just knowing that if I was fortunate enough to get to the NBA or even in college, I know that I can grow in my game. And I know that have to come in being able to average 30 to 40 points. That's something that when I get put in the program of college or get into an NBA team, that's something that I can work on and develop to become an elite two-way player. You look at guys like Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard. Those guys really didn't come in as ultimate scorers, but now in their point in their career, they're able to drop 20, 30, 40 and still be able to lock up on the defensive end. So, I don't feel like I'm in a rush to need to be a scoring machine. I feel like that's something that I can work on and develop for sure.
You mentioned Kawhi and Jimmy Butler. I think those are both kind of the ceiling comparisons for you. But I think right now, when we obviously look at guys like Robert Covington, guys that can start in the NBA to play a key role, I think that's something that you legitimately can become, and the next ceiling will be huge for you. Who's some other guys you kind of look to as guys that you think you play a lot like, you even kind of model your game after?
Yeah, no, definitely. Robert Covington's a great player. I just love the way he plays on the floor. Being able to guard multiple positions, be able to play multiple positions, and that's big time in this NBA. I mentioned Kawhi Leonard. I love the way how patient he is. On the court, able to score from three levels. I mentioned also Jimmy Butler. I just love his mindset, his intensity that he brings to the game, and how he plays like it's his last game. And comes in with that mindset, and that just drives him to become even better. I just love the growth that he had from his rookie year to now, being in the Eastern Conference Finals and playing like this. It works. And having that hard work mindset is big time. I also look at guys like Caris LeVert, who is very underrated in the NBA right now, and he's been doing some amazing things for the Nets. Without Kyrie and Kevin Durant, he's been doing a lot of great things, and he's able to play both sides of the ball, kind of long, lanky guy, and isn't afraid to get in there with contact. I think another guy that was Jrue Holiday. I really think he's an underrated defender. He can guard 1 through 4, and he's proved that in the NBA. Definitely a lockup guy, can get off his shot at any time, and come back down and play defense. And those guys are really the main guys. And of course, I look at Michael Jordan. He's the ultimate two-way player, ultimate goal that I want to get to as far as, not stopping, bringing that consistent defense, consistent offense, and kind of like a robot in that term, just, knowing that he will give you 30 points. He will give you 2 steals. He can learn how to make the stat sheet, full with his game. So that's big time. That's the level that I'm trying to get to.
This wasn't really a planned question or topic, but you just really went down a lot of NBA players in depth, and there's not many guys that do that. There's not a lot of guys like the NBA and might watch it. Some don't even do that, but you clearly study it. You know the game well. What's your love for basketball? How much do you love basketball, not just as a player, but watching it and just enjoying it?
Man, I was a big time basketball fan. And the one thing that I was just happy about, that my dad didn't force me to play basketball. It was just something that I developed, and something that I have a true relationship. It's not me, my dad, and basketball. It's me and basketball. And I had this connection with the game, with the sport, and I think that drives me to even get better. Whether it's waking up in the morning when I don't want to, just thinking about being able to get better and thinking about being able to play basketball, just seeing the ball go through the hoop, it is something that drives me, every day. The love of the game, watching it, listening to it, playing it, it's something that's it's an experience for me. And I take that very serious, and I love the game.
How important is that? We see dads all the time. Some of them are super involved in the careers. They rather either coaching them the whole time or being their only trainer, stuff like that. How important is it having a dad that truly just wants you finding your true love for whatever that is, and kind of just being a supporter as opposed to maybe being kind of the enforcer in the relationship for you and your basketball?
Man, I feel like it's big time, just giving my dad, being able to give me the option to play the game that I love is something that drew me a lot closer to the game. And now that I'm invested to it, now he gives me all the advice in the world. And without him, I would definitely wouldn't be where I am right now. And that being said, if he would have forced me to play basketball, I definitely don't think I would have the hunger and the mindset that I do right now. So I'm just grateful that he was able to instill in me that I have a choice. And that's big time for me, man. And I love him and I love what he's taught me, and I'm continue to grow with him and I'm continue to ask questions. But yeah, he's really done a great job in molding me to who I am and my mindset.
And you weren't the only Division I athlete in your family. Your brother also played cornerback for Arizona, which was another school in your top six, as well as your sister as a two-sport athlete. What's just kind of been like growing up in a family of athletics?
Man, it's very competitive. Every day you just want to prove that you're the better sibling. And whether it's competing with my brother or my sister, we're always on that level. And I think that really helped us a lot in just growing, with each other. We never wanted to be the last one. My sister being the youngest of the group, she's always striving for more and more and more, and that just keeps me and my brother on our toes. And me being and seeing my brother, seeing how successful he was in football, just always wanted me to make sure that I either match that or surpass that. And he's always been that level that I've been trying to get to, and maybe catch. And I have a long way to go before I get to that level, but that's definitely one of my goals for sure. And having this family environment has helped me, tremendously in ways that people couldn't imagine. I love my siblings. I love our connection. I love our competitiveness, and yeah, it really made sure that I am who I am today.
So you're growing up, you love basketball, you love watching it. Your brother achieves his goal, plays Division I, kind of puts a little bit of pressure in a sense of saying that that's kind of your goal. You want to do, as you just said. When did it click? When did you realize I can become a Division I athlete? And I can become a top player in the country?
I think it was probably my freshman year of Etowanda. I was put on JV because that year was one of our better years as far as a team. And just seeing how the coaching staff talked to me, seeing how my parents talked to me, seeing how trainers, people who've seen me just said that I had a lot of potential. And hearing something like that, I'm not thinking like, okay, maybe I can get to college. I'm not thinking that I can go to one of the best schools in the country,
Mhm.
like or get offers from schools all across the world. I'm not thinking of that. I'm just thinking like, hey, I'm just trying to play basketball and just have fun with it. But I think probably my freshman sophomore year, I really took it a lot more serious, and was just like invested to it. So ever since then, I just been on it and just trying to get to that level, and it's been nonstop.
Now, I do know there was a kind of a low point for you about a year ago. You're injured, you're in a cast, weren't able to play, and that kind of is your big year. A lot of guys know heading into junior season is really the big year for offers and pulling in that and recruiting. How'd you get out of that? What was that time like, and how'd you bounce out of it into what you are now?
Man, that time was really definitely a low point for me in the beginning of it. But I think after a month or two, when my mom and my dad really sat me down and told me about all the positives that can come with this, and they were right. After that, the rehab for it, just my mindset, it kind of shifted to this game it can be gone, in a second. And I think that really drove me to work even harder, and just let me know that I can't take this game for granted and got to give it all I had every time I play, or I might not have it anymore. So that was really really big time for me, and just with my faith and my family, they just wanted to make sure that maybe this is God showing me something that I should maybe take a break from basketball and focus on other things to improve my mind, improve my body, improve my anxiety and stuff like that, to make sure that I'm even, and that I'm good to go, and that I don't have to worry about other issues like that. And that really, got me to that next level as far as thinking the game more than just playing the game, and that it was great for me. I think I was fortunate to have an injury like that to not, put me out a whole year, put me out long enough to where I can realize that I can do even more wonders with this game and improve my mind even more.
So you step foot on high school court again. You just have a 30-4 record, but that first game back, getting used to it, just playing games again. What's going through your mind? How'd you get used to getting comfortable playing again?
Man, it was definitely difficult, and I was definitely anxious, and really had a rush with me and playing. So it was big time though. It was definitely fun, to get back out there and to play the game I love. I had a few turnovers in the first possession, but I was happy to be able to play and to be able to, get back to it. And that game was really, whether I don't even remember if I lost or if I won. I was just so ecstatic with being able to go out there and feel healthy and play. And with that, I couldn't ask for anything more.
And you were on a team that had 6+ Division I players at the moment. Other guys could possibly step up and increase that number. I mean, kind of headlining by guys like you, Jalen Clark as well. So you kind of didn't have to be the main guy right away. When did you say, though, that you finally started getting comfortable and realized you were 100% and you're back to yourself?
Man, towards the middle of the season, that's when I really stopped worrying about my injury and I got past that mental block. And with the team that we had, it really made it easier for all of us to not have to go out and score 30 or 40 and needed to really carry that load. We all really played together and, we all benefited from it. Everybody was having fun, everybody was happy, and it was something that was enjoyable as a team to be able to go through that journey and have one of the best Etawanda's years in school history, and that's big time, man. We'll go down, we'll talk to each other, and always live through that year because it was definitely a special year.
And because of how stacked you guys were, all your guys' numbers were deflated because of, like you said, there's so many opportunities for different guys. But if there wasn't all this talent on that team, it was pretty much you being the main guy and the only guy. What kind of numbers would you think you're capable of putting up? Or even now, what do you think you're capable of putting up this upcoming season?
Man, I feel like that's just a number that I can't even think about. I really do feel like I can be a guy that can do everything on the floor, whether that's rebounding, whether that's assisting, whether that's getting steals, getting blocks, getting points. I feel like I'm definitely a 20 to 25 point player. Definitely 8 to 10 rebounds, 5 to 7 assists. 2 to 3 steals. At least give you a block a game, and just that leadership role. I feel like I can do a lot, especially in high school right now with everything that I've learned, everything that I've developed. I feel like I can do a lot of great things on the court. But I was just happy and fortunate that I was able to have those players. Because it is a lot of stress with carrying that load, and not for sure knowing, well, if I score 30, am I going to be able to win the game? So able to have that and have those players help me out, it was great.
Let's get back into Tennessee and your recruitment, man. You narrowed down to your top six. You have Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, obviously, and Colorado. But what were you looking for in a program? What was the defining factor that allowed those six schools to make it, and then the defining factor that separate Tennessee from the six?
Man, I think it was definitely just looking at a school, just seeing how they were as a staff. That was probably one of the biggest things. I think also player development, how they develop their players, because I feel like I have a lot to grow on, and I feel like I'm a really great player right now, but I can get even better, with the right program and the right system. And that's been big time. That's been big time, especially with picking Tennessee. They had that player development. I think also the way they played on the court, just getting equal opportunity. It wasn't just forced on one player. It wasn't. They didn't really put me in a box, and that was probably one of the biggest things with Tennessee is that they told me that I can grow there, and I can be able to make mistakes there. And I think that's one thing that can bring a freshman like me to that next level is being able to have that freedom and not have to worry about it, and be able to make mistakes, because I know I am, because I know I have so much more to get better on. But I think those things were really the main things that stood out to me.
Was there number two? Was there someone that was really with you up until the very end, up until your final decision?
Man, no, it was actually pretty close with all the schools. I think people assumed that I had a second, but I think it was pretty close with pretty much all the schools that I had. It wasn't really anything that stood out. Everybody had a pretty much amazing program. It was hard to turn down any of them. Just how much they were giving me, just how much they were willing to sacrifice and be able to get me to that school and show me that I can become a great player there. So I wouldn't say there was anybody right there that just stood out before all the others besides Tennessee. I think they were all pretty much in that same platform. So
I don't like asking this question until you guys do commit, but growing up as a kid, who was the team you really were dreaming of playing for? Who was the school you loved watching?
I really had a lot of great schools that I loved watching. I loved watching Villanova, just seeing how they played there. But that after years of just watching college basketball, and just seeing how it's played, seeing everything, seeing the ins and outs, my views changed to just not just who's the best team out there, just what the system's like, what's the coaching staff like, and that's probably one of the reasons why I chose Tennessee. I knew how good they were and how good their coaching staff was. Watching guys like Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, and how they really went in there and kind of, brought the program on the map. Seeing that was kind of big time. And I didn't really have a dream school that I wanted to go to. So that made things a lot easier for me to decide.
Rick Barnes, a great coach. We mentioned the six schools earlier. What were you looking for in a coach? Like, what were the characteristics you wanted? I mean, some guys like more experienced coaches, something like the younger ones. Some coaches like some people obviously like the coach with faith that they kind of relate in that way. What were you looking for in a coach?
Man, I was just looking for a coach that really believed in me and my game, really believed that they can change me and develop me and evolve me to an even better player. And that's something that he preached out to me. And that made me really feel like I was on board with that. I wanted a coach that, could get on me and make me a better player, but, in moments where I needed it, could be comforting and could be able to talk to me and tell me what's going on, not just one voice just kind of changing his tone depending on the situation. And I feel like he was very flexible with that. And really, I can tell, outside of basketball, he was just a great person, family guy, loved his players, loved what the players were striving for, and was really focused on the players and what their dreams and goals were. And that really stood out to me. As well as his faith was probably one of the main things that was great for me to see. It's just me and him having the same faith, to talk about that. With everything going on with my family, he's been right there, asking questions, making sure that I'm okay, making sure my mom and everybody else in my family was okay. So that really stood out to me, just like it would anybody else.
And there was a story I read about you and Coach Barnes. We know obviously Graham passed away from COVID, and that's obviously a tough time for anybody. And you were kind of on down low. Obviously, you were hurt by it. And you mentioned how Coach Barnes called in to check in, dropped all the basketball conversations, dropped all that stuff, and really just talked about you. How are you doing? How's your family doing? What was that moment like? Was that kind of a turning point also for Tennessee?
Yeah, that was definitely a big turning point. That really stood them, above kind of a lot of the schools that I was really looking at. When he did that and didn't mention one part of basketball, that was just something that I like, okay, this school is special. And I feel like this school was put here for me to, develop here and to, become an even better person and athlete here. So when he did that, that was really, what really made my decision clear to me that Tennessee was a school, and that was great that he did that. And to even think about that, he has other players that he's recruiting. He has all the players that are there currently. He has his own family, and to be able to, call me and ask me how I was doing, that was great.
So did any of the colleges that were recruiting you, did anyone else call you in to talk to you, but just about her?
Yeah, no, there was definitely other schools that talked to me about it, whether it was through text or through call. But he really stood out because we had a very long conversation about that. And that was probably one of the biggest conversations I had. And it was great.
That's awesome. And talk about her real quick. I mean, it was a tough time. How did you get through that? How did you rely on faith to bring you out of that? And just what's some of your memories with your grandma?
Definitely, probably one of the saddest moments, in my life. I didn't really lose a lot of people in my life, starting now, and she was definitely probably my number one supporter. No matter what happened, I can go out there, score 0 points, 0 rebounds, and have 10 turnovers. She'll still say, I'm the best, and I'm a player, and that's just something that uh, was big time for me, and I loved it with all my heart. I miss her, and just being able to have those moments with her, as a kid, being able to talk to her, lay on her, have conversations with her. She was very wise, and she was just on top of all that, she was just a loving, caring person. And you always need somebody like that in your life. And so it was great. It was great to have her.
Absolutely, man. Well, You're part of 2021, as we mentioned. You're the second guy to commit there alongside Kennedy Chandler. You guys form now a top 20 recruiting class. Possibly could be higher when you look at the potential, both you guys. Both top 25 all-time commits there as well. What's your guys' bond like? How's that growing? And how excited are you to be able to play with him?
Man, Kennedy's he's a great guy. Ever even before I committed there, he reached out to me, told me how much he wanted me here. And I feel like with his game and my game, he really stands out in the same way that I do. He loves defense, just as I do, and he plays it. Plays hard every day. Not the biggest guy, not the tallest guy on the floor, but he's probably one of the smartest guys on the floor. And thinking two steps ahead of other guys, and that's what really got him to that level. And why he's such a great point guard. And being able to play with a point guard like that, just knowing that he wants what's best for me just as much as he wants what's best for him. I feel like we can definitely grow together, as two players and bring that Tennessee program to where they want to be. I feel like me and him are probably one of the best backcourt freshmen coming into there, in my opinion. I think being able to play on both sides of the ball, being able to have that intensity, we're two very quick players, very strong players. So yeah, I'm pretty confident saying that we're the two best freshmen coming in that class. And I know other people are going to say stuff, but I'm not really concerned with that. I just know what he can do, and I know what I'm capable of doing. And I know that we're both working hard, through this COVID, being ready to come to that season and explode.
There's a key point you mentioned there. Both of you guys have that dog mentality, and in the NBA aspect, we've learned there's two different types of dog mentalities. There's the Clippers version of obviously trash talking, a very more vocal one. There's the Miami one. It's not necessarily as trash talking, but it's more, you just know they have that dog mentality in them. And I know you play in California, you see the differences. There's a lot of guys we don't need to mention, but there's more of the trash talking guys out there, as well as guys like you that just play hard, physical the right way. How would you guys kind of learn that? How do you separate those two different dog mentalities?
Man, when it's necessary, I feel like, I've definitely talked before,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm the type to go out to somebody and do it first. I'm really the type to, if you talk to me, then I'm gonna just answer with a bucket or answer with a block or a steal. And then I don't have to say anything to know that, I'm in your head or that I'm outplaying you. And I think that's one of the better things of being a guy that's not so vocal all the time, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't said anything before, because I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm making sure that I'm making it known that, I'm outplaying you, or I'm locking you up, or I just scored a bucket. But I definitely don't come in with that mindset. I come in focused on me and focus on my team and focus on winning, not really concerned about the player that I'm playing against and what they have to say about me. But it comes with it. It's definitely a mentality that you just can't, really, I don't feel like it's a mentality that you can really learn. I feel like it's just a mentality that you have, and having that mentality, you can use it, to benefit your team, or to cause your team to lose. And I definitely feel like I'm a player that uses that to benefit my team and make sure that I'm not, losing sight of the main goal, and that's to win. And that's always been the main goal.
You and Kennedy locked in now. Anyone else you guys are looking for 2021?
We're also looking for guys like Ryan Mutombo, great player, Jabari Smith, and a bunch of other guys that we've been looking at and talking about. But those are the two main guys that we're looking at right now. And we hope that they can come in and join an amazing class, an amazing program, and really bring Tennessee to that next level.
So 2021 comes, the starting lineup involves you, Kennedy, Jabari, Ryan. What's that team capable of doing?
Man, that team, the sky's the limit for a team like that. Just coming in, I feel like we can be one of the best classes. We might not have, the ranking as far as, all top 10 guys, top 15 guys, but I feel like we're just as capable as those guys, just on top of those lists. And, having guys like that all have that defensive mentality, can all score on the other end of the floor. I feel like that's just something that you just can't really score on. It's hard to score on, no matter what. I've talked to Jabari, I've talked to Ryan, I've talked to Kennedy. They're all mature. They're never, just super cocky. They're always humble. And I feel like guys like that, all they can do is grow, and all they can do is get better. And I'm definitely excited. I really hope we do get those guys so we can really, bring that program to the next level. But even if we don't, we still have the guys that we have here now. I feel like we can do, even we can do great things with just me and Kennedy as well. So, but I'm definitely hoping that we get those guys.
A few more Tennessee questions, man, before I let you go. One is 2020 class, top 5 recruiting class, and I'm not sure how many of those guys will still be there when you guys get there because you have Jaden Springer, Keon Johnson, which I'm hearing both those guys are having obviously pro potential, might be one and done, but you look at just guys, Corey Walker is a big-time player. You just go down that list, 6, 7 guys in that recruiting class. How special was that, and how much of an impact did that have seeing that much talent go to 2020?
Man, it was really crazy seeing those guys being able to go there and being able to talk. I was able to talk to some of those guys and just how they felt, about the program. And they all, you can tell they all had that different mentality, a different mindset. And I knew that they were growing as players and as people, and their mind. And that's big time, man. And that 2020 class is going to be special. I feel like the class and the team that they have now is capable of amazing things and is going to go really far. So that was really big time to me, just seeing the players that they've gotten. And I can't wait to see how they've developed in that program.
Playing the SEC, it's one of, if not the best conferences in America. How excited are you to be a part of that?
Man, it's definitely exciting. I look forward to it a lot. Just seeing those players, seeing the rivalry, seeing how intense the fans are. It's something that I just can't wait for. And I live for those moments. I live for those crowds. And what they can bring to a player and to a team, and just how hype and intense that arena will be. Playing against the players there is going to be, one of the greatest things. For me, I just love competition and I look for competition and I look to compete. And you can definitely tell they do that in the SEC. It's a program. I mean, it's a conference that is different from a lot of them, and it's special and unique in their own way. And I can't wait to be able to play and make my mark on the SEC.
No doubt, man. As you know, I like wrapping up a couple questions for everybody. The first one is in regards to your legacy. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you want your legacy to be and what do you want to be remembered for what you achieve both on and off the court?
Man, for me, I definitely want my legacy to be one of the best two-way players to play. I definitely want to have that, but I don't want to just be known for a great basketball player. I want to be known for bringing people to Christ, using my platform, changing people's lives, changing people's hearts. Doing whatever I can that's needed to help people. And in that way, I feel like I can make a big impact, especially with the platform that I'm hopefully gonna get if I keep working and just being able to just spread positivity, spread love throughout people. And in a time like this, I feel like it's definitely needed. And I feel like it's a goal of mine that I just can't wait to put my name out there and leave that mark. That man, he was a great basketball player, but he was an even better human and an even better person. So I think that's probably the main thing that I want to leave my mark as a basketball player.
That's awesome, man. As you know, I'm a believer as well. And I talk about first Jesus, then family over everything. And your bio says the same thing almost. God first, family next. That mentality is something that I know a lot of people put verses, have scripture and stuff, but truly understand the Bible is a different thing. And that kind of the way to separate that. How have you learned that and kind of put God first?
Man, just from a young age, you've been taught to do stuff, but as you come to a certain age, you have to figure it out for yourself, and you have to learn on your own. And just seeing the miracles that he's done for me, and everything that I've had, it's no other way to put it that he loves me and he has a plan for me, and I'm always going to believe that. He's shown me in plenty of ways that he has a plan for me and that he cares about me, and that's definitely something that there's no way I cannot believe that. And I love my family, but my family makes it known to never give up on God, no matter what. It's nothing like having Him in your corner, and staying true to Him. So definitely something that I'm always gonna do. I'm always grateful for.
When was that turning point? When did you truly learn about God and truly have that turning point where you realize you're truly attached to Him, you truly embrace Him as your Lord and Savior?
I feel like when during my teenage years, when when I was a little bit younger, preteen, teenager, going into that 13, 14, that was really big time for me. And I was just, he showed me so much with what I have and what my family has and what we have and what's going on in the world, and how we're so blessed, to get what we've gotten. And I feel like after he showed me that, I just couldn't stop. But and I couldn't think about, any other way that could happen besides, his love for me and my family. And I want to spread that love and that message throughout the world, using the game that I love to play. So that's the main goal, and that was probably the year, and the time where I knew that, God is with me.
And we see so many guys, players, just people in general, when you go through an injury or when you have a loss of someone, a lot of people kind of turn away from faith, lose their faith. How are you able to get through that? What's your advice to people to stay strong and that God's in control?
Man, just looking at the miracles that He's given me. I'm going to the University of Tennessee, and I'm playing basketball. I'm able to play with no injuries. I'm able to play being healthy. And even with the loss that I have, my grandma always told me that He's with me, and just always. And that was big time for me, man. And just hearing her words, hearing how my family's words after what happened, you can't help but believe in him and love him because he was able to give me my grandma, give me the time that I had with her, the messages that I had with her, the talks that I had with her. And it's something that you have to believe in, and you have to stay true to, and you have to have faith on, and I think that's the biggest thing for me is just having that faith no matter what. It's not going to be perfect for me, and through my career I'm going to have a lot of ups and downs. I can, God forbid I can have an injury, and but just staying true to what he has given me, and staying true to what I have outside of basketball. I think that's going to keep me level headed and make sure that I'm humble, and make sure that I give all God the glory, that he deserves.
Final two questions, man. Matthew 23:12. Why is that the verse you put in your bio?
Man, it's special, it's special. And not even to put out individual verses, but to also just looking at the whole Bible. you know Even with the I put it's millions of verses, that are strong, but not in the same way. They're in different ways. Talk about love, talk about faith, talk about being able to talk to somebody. Just the strength that he has on me and my family. I love that verse because it's special to me and what's been going on. And there's also other verses that I love just as much. And I feel like that's something that everybody should know. And people who don't know about the Bible, it's my job to be able to teach them that verse. That verse that really stuck to me, or another verse that will stick to them. And that's my main goal, just thinking about other people and thinking about how I can bring that glory and to other people, and making sure that they get that same love that I'm getting right now.
Amen, man. My final thing, give Tennessee fans your three biggest goals you have set for your Tennessee career.
Man, one of the biggest goals. I feel like these Tennessee fans are one of a kind. I feel like there's no other way to put it. Just the support and love that they gave me. I just want to say thank you, to them. They just been amazing. And I think the main thing that I want to do, the number one thing that's on my mind, out of everything else, is winning. And I feel like this school deserves a national championship. I feel like they deserve another SEC championship, and I want to make sure that I bring that to them. And I'm gonna work as much as I need to, as hard as I can, to do that, because these fans deserve it, and they've been waiting a long time for it, and they're definitely loyal. And I'm excited to be able to grow, not just from them looking in the crowd and seeing me on the basketball court, but me coming up to them and saying hello and introducing myself. I just want to be able to leave a mark on the state of Tennessee and on Knoxville, and to have that personality to bring others closer, and that's my main goal. I'm just excited to be able to meet new people.
That's awesome, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking on to come on today. Congrats on the commitment, man. Keep on being a light.
Yes, sir. Go Vols.
Absolutely, man. Talk to you later, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. You too.